Kay West. There she is. I see her over there. She has spent her career amplifying voices, telling stories, and shaping the way the world sees Nashville. Kay began her journalism career at just 19 in Manhattan, where she was one of the first national editors to shine a spotlight on country music artists. That was a time when a lot of the country genre was just simply overlooked. And back in 1981, she was recruited to Nashville to lead publicity at RCA Nashville, later joining MCA Records, before returning to her first love, which was journalism. Along the way, she served as George Strait's publicist for more than 15 years, guarding his privacy while also helping build one of the most legendary careers in country music. Over the next 3 decades, Kay became one of Nashville's most respected voices, writing for People Country, major newspapers and magazines, and contributing to countless industry publications and events. She was a founding writer at the Nashville Scene, and her restaurant column, which ran for 15 years and returned in 2022, earned her a 2024 Food Writing Award from the Association of Alternative News Media. Congratulations on that. That's huge. Well, Kay has authored 5 books, including Around the Opry Table. She has given back generously through service and nonprofit boards as a longtime volunteer with Thistle Farms and Room at the End, I should say. Now, today, from her home in Asheville, North Carolina, she continues to share stories about food and people across the Southeast. Kay, we have a friend who wanted to share a few words.
Hey, Kay West, it's me. I just want to say congratulations to you for being inducted into the Source Awards Hall of Fame. That's pretty amazing. You're so deserving for all your hard work, especially with me being my publicist and for so many years. And also as a journalist, you're amazing. As you know, work in the music business is tough, a lot of long hours. And it was especially tough with me because you had to learn a lot of ways to say no. And you did that well. So I want to thank you for always having my back. And congratulations once again. And also, thank you to all the women being inducted tonight for all the hard work they've done over the years to advance country music all over the world. And to the Source organization for honoring these great women in this Hall of Fame. Have a great night.
That was George Strait, in case y'all didn't know. Please welcome to the stage 2025 Source Hall of Fame inductee, Kay West.
Okay, I'm going to go off script for a minute to say that when I was at MCA Records from 1984 to 86, it was when Jimmy Bowen in 86 decided that he didn't want to have a publicity department anymore. Everybody should get an independent publicist, and he was going to put all the money in A&R or in his productions or whatever. And so all the artists were told to get an independent publicist at the same, so that meant I was out of a job, which is fine with me because I was going to go back to writing. And Irv, George's manager, came to me and said, you know, we need to get an independent publicist. So George is wondering if you would be his publicist. And I said, oh man, I don't want to do publicity anymore, Irv. And he said, neither does George. And a perfect marriage was born for the next 15 years. So thanks to George for doing that. Yeah, and a couple years later, I was asked to do Alan Jackson's publicity, who also didn't want to do publicity at that time. So I've made a good career out of doing that. So thank you all. Thank you to Source tonight. Thank you all for being here. Thanks to Erica Rosa, who really did a great job tonight putting this together. This Friday, it will be 44 years since I pulled into Nashville in a rental car after a 2-day drive from New York City. It was not my first time in Music City as an associate editor of a national men's magazine, which was not Playboy and not Hustler, somewhere in the middle of the two. I was invited to several things down here. I was at the Charlie Daniels Volunteer Jam, and I was, to my mother's delight, I was on the front row of the CMA Awards in 1980, sitting beside Donna Douglas, Ellie Mae Clampett, dressed entirely in pink from head to toe, and I had to spend my time not giving her the side eye because I was on TV a lot at the front row. I had been here quite a bit, spending time doing a story on the Oak Ridge Boys, and Kathy Harris, I know, is here tonight. They were really my first family here in Nashville. But it was still surprising when Randy Goodman and Joe Galante came to me and said, would you take this job as director of publicity at RCA? I'd never done publicity before and didn't know much about it, except publicists took me out to lunch a lot. But it came at the exact right time because I had a boyfriend in New York that I wanted to break up with. And it really seemed easier to upend my entire life in glamorous New York City and move to the buckle of the Bible Belt than ask him to move out. So I did. So my first night in Nashville, RCA put me up at the Hall of Fame Motel, which back then, some of you will know, was not quite the glittering star it became. And so I walked down the hall to the front desk. I was surrounded by these publicity photos of people I didn't know who they were. And the guy turns around and he's an Elvis impersonator. And so I said, do you know where I can get some dinner tonight? And he said, oh, you're out of luck. It was 9:00 on a Saturday night. And he said, but Arby's might be open. Well, Arby's was open, and so was a liquor store on Church Street, where I found out that you can't buy a corkscrew in a liquor store in Tennessee. So I had a bottle of Asti Spumante paired with my Arby's roast beef sandwich and curly fries, and sat in my room crying all night, thinking I had made the biggest mistake of my life. And of course, I was wrong. So as we were preparing for this evening, Erica asked us to put together 3 or 4 places that we had worked to put on our plaque and on here. And, but as a freelancer, I've had hundreds and hundreds of jobs. So, but RCA, I only lasted 1 year. And as Bob Orman knows, most publicists only lasted 1 year back in that day with Joe Galante and Randy Goodman. They later went to human being training and it got much better. True. So I did not end up, my office wasn't moved into a closet like Pam Lewis's was, who went on to do some pretty good things with Garth Brooks. So, but for me, that was the starting point. And we say it all begins with a song, but it really, for me, began with a phone call from Faye Smith at BMI, who asked me to have lunch with her boss, Frances Preston. And I knew who Frances Preston was. I knew she was the most powerful woman in the music industry and probably the world at that point. But I was lucky enough to arrive at a time where it was not just Frances. There was an article I did later called When Women Ruled the Row. And so it was Frances, but it was Connie Bradley at ASCAP, and it was Donna Hilley at Tree, and it was Diane Petty at CSAC, and Joe Walker Metter at the CMA, and Maggie Cavender at NSAI, and Lady Nancy Shapiro. And what a hall of fame of women that were running things at that time. So all of them started those jobs really as receptionists and secretaries and just came in and worked really hard and didn't complain and put on their big girl high heels and got the job done and got these jobs. But they also helped other women like me. And Frances, from that very first meeting, she just sort of put me on different committees and boards and places that really shaped my life. And I wanted to see what she did. I emulated everything she did. I tried to be like her because, boy, you did not want to disappoint Frances Preston. I tell you, you did not want that look from her that said, no. I'm sure every woman in this room had a woman or a couple of women like that. And it is our privilege to pay that forward to other women. And Source has been doing that now for 30 years, since it was founded by Sheila Shipley and Pat Rolfe and Judy Harris in 1991. So thank you to Source for doing as an organization. So we brought up the Nashville scene, and the Nashville scene where I worked for since the very beginning. And we had a contest every year, we still have it, called You Are So Nashville If, the Yasnies. And every year we get all these entries, and then all the editors would sit in the room and go through all the entries and see which one we liked, and then we'd battle it out for whichever one was first, except for one year when it was unanimous. And it was a submission by Robert Jeton, the musician. And it was, You Are So Nashville If You Never Thought You'd Stay This Long. And everybody in that room had moved there from somewhere else, including me. And I certainly never thought I would stay this long. But as I came to find out, what I thought was the biggest mistake of my life turned out to be the best move I ever made. My daughter is here tonight, and my son is in Los Angeles. So along with community and friends and great work and all the things that Nashville brought me in such a special time that I was here, that a lot of you were here for as well, when it was still small enough, but dreaming so big. It was an honor and a privilege, and it's an honor and privilege to be here tonight. Thank you.